Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. I am Joel, and I am very happy to be here tonight. Thank you to DonutJS for having me, and everybody here has been wonderful, as well as all of you in the audience. I can tell you're all wonderful. So I will accept any gifts later, too. So. Anyway, so this is first thoughts. So I'm a JavaScript developer and teacher, and I make web applications. I do DOM scripting, Node.js, React, Redux, JavaScript. So that's my world, and I'm kind of telling you this because that's how I'm approaching this kind of first IoT experience that I recently had. And so I'm kind of coming at it from that angle. And this is the dawn of flashing lights for me, because this is the first flashing light experience. Or how Donald Trump's tweet storms can help you become a better sailor. And regardless of your politics, I think we can all appreciate reading tweets off the internet and doing crazy things with them on hardware. So this is my first IoT expedition. One of my first talks, so keep that in mind, or not. The first thing I want to ask you is, what's on your mind when you wake up? If you can think that far back, what happened there? Maybe it was the party from the night before. Perhaps it was world domination. Some people. Food. That's me. Actually, I can't believe it's already morning. Who am I? That's sometimes, you just... So what's on President Trump's mind in the morning? Maybe similar things, maybe a little different. I don't know. It's hard to say. But we can kind of know because he actually tweets out what's on his mind. And so now it can be told. You can wake up with the President of the United States. You can align your mind with his and build up skills to become a better sailor. And I will show you how. Using an ESP8266. So this is a little microprocessor that you can hook up to Wi-Fi, and I'm going to make a server, and just by sheer willpower, I'm going to teach it to read Donald Trump's latest tweet, turn it into Morse code, broadcast the signal to you at the time that it happens, and you can wake up. That's a great way to wake up. And because you're armed with up-to-date knowledge of the State of the Union, possibly. So what tools will we be using? The software tools that I'm going to be using is called Things SDK, and it's because I'm from JavaScript land. This is a JavaScript software development kit. It's a set of tools that you can use to put onto one of these little devices, write JavaScript on it to control it. And there are really great guides to get you started on GitHub. It's Things SDK. And I really found these guides to be super awesome. You can basically just walk through them and sort of see what the possibilities are and get started right away, which I did. And so what can we do here? We can get onto HTTP, so we can get onto the internet and make requests off this little board with JavaScript. It's tiny, you can put it anywhere. The sad part is there's no HTTPS, and so this is really just like a development situation. It's playtime. Of course, you really should be on HTTPS, as you heard earlier. Anyway. That's one thing about it, but it's totally super fun to play with, and you're definitely preparing yourself for a great experience on the newer boards coming out. And the API is a little bit different from Node.js, so if you're familiar with that, there's a little bit of relearning to do to program on it. And there's not much memory, which you'll see. So yeah, no HTTPS. Sorry about that. So to get onto Twitter, you need to have HTTPS. So what I ended up doing was creating a Node server to kind of be the middle person there and grab a tweet from Twitter and then pipe it over to my little ESP8266. There should be a better, cuter name for that, but that's pretty cute, so I don't know. So cool, let's get onto the Twitter API. And when I did that, I realized that they want your phone number, and I'm very paranoid. And I know they have my phone number anyway, somehow, but just because they required it kind of made me a little more, I dug in a little bit more. And I don't know if these should be bullets, but anyway, let's scrape some web, and we can just, we can grab a web page anywhere anybody can, and I'm going to scrape it with Cheerio, which, if you don't know, is jQuery for Node. So you can grab your HTML string, parse it, and then you can query it just like you would with the jQuery collection. So let's hop on Twitter, and this is kind of a symbol for my experience. This never gets old. I've loved this video for years now, and I just find myself searching it out every once in a while just to see it again. It just feels like the more you see it, the better it gets, but I'll let you watch it later on your own. So here we're dreaming up a little request from the guy, and we're going to go to Node, and we're going to use our HTTP module just like we love in Node and know. Problem is it's not Node, so that doesn't work. You need to actually, so I was working on the Node API, and this is just my own learning experience here, but you have to go to this other website, and that's where you get your documentation on the Esprit, website. So at any rate, once I figured that out, then got the tweet, and we're going to push it through an old style machine to turn it into Morse code. And I wanted an NPM. I found Morse. This guy is like super magnetic. You are already falling in love with him as you stare into those eyes. I'm going to spare you the experience because you may never dig your way out. So moving on. So, I couldn't put that onto the little processor, sadly. It's still, it's under development. I ended up having to put Morse onto the Express app that I was building in Node. So that worked just fine. TweetStorm, by the way, looks like this in Morse. The problem is, how do you translate that into ons and offs? You've got 3 different characters, and they're communicating 5 different states. So I ended up writing my own protocol, and I kept the dash is the da, and who isn't familiar with Morse code as a concept? Okay, Morse code was just developed for ships to communicate with each other over long distances, and there's like a flashing light or there's a sound associated with it. And it's just spaces and durations, basically. So you, like SOS, we'll go over this again, but SOS is ... dash ... ... So it kind of just looks like that. And you actually have to learn to read it to really communicate with it, but it's that's an easy thing to see. Anyway, so I translated into my HMP, or homemade Morse protocol, and I piped it through one of these things, which I wrote to translate it, and I was just, I was in the hot box. I could have done something much more elegant, but I didn't, and I'm sorry about that, everybody. But anyway, it got me here, and so this is my, this is the string that I want to throw onto. So I turned it into objects, and I passed it on to the little ESP8266, and I ran out of memory. And running out of memory looks and feels like this. So that's, yeah, so just so you know. Oh, here it's now raining. That's the feeling that I wanted. Okay, so I'm just going to take that string, and I'm going to pipe it straight on and figure it out on the device itself. So here's my switch statement. Just read the different things, translate it into objects, and turn the light on and off. And how do I work my way through this string? Well, chain promises together, right? So I made a little promise factory, and throw thens, and kind of just like get to the end, and I ran out of memory. So I got super fed up, and I just went and played with my daughter for just a little while, and just tried to forget, and successfully did, because she's amazing. And then I realized there's no school like the old school, right? So just set a timeout from within another set timeout. And it should have occurred to me sooner. But that's kind of what I'm realizing working with hardware is their anti-patterns become patterns, patterns become anti-patterns. What you think you know as a developer actually changes when you shrink it. So that was kind of the big takeaway for me working with this little device. And then, you don't have to read this, but this is like a ternary version of the switch statement. I don't know, maybe the switch statement would have worked, but I just didn't want to chance it. I thought this might be less to think about for the little guy. So anyway, let's initialize the demo. And so what's going to happen here is I have a little ESP8266. It has all of the app that I put on built in, and I'm going to just plug it into power. So all it's going to do is get power. I know I'm plugging a USB into a computer, but there's no data there. It's just power. When this thing powers up, it's going to make a request to my local server through the Wi-Fi here in the building, and it's going to grab that tweet, and then we're going to see that converted into something we can recognize, hopefully, as Morse code. So here we go, plugging it in. And let's just check the server while this is happening. So here's my server now, and it should, once the thing boots up, there it is. Okay, so it just requested the first, I'm sorry to bum you out with the Trump tweet, but it just grabbed it, and now it's flashing it in Morse code. So that's the thing. And perhaps just to like put the point home, SOS, I just did want to show you SOS. So I'm going to force it to give SOS rather than the tweet. I won't make you sit through a Trump tweet in Morse code. But here I'm going to actually pipe SOS onto it. And then you can actually just see for yourself, okay, this is Morse code. And it's SOS is dot, 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 pause, dot, 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 and so on. So did I exited out of my server? Okay, so here we go one more time. And then when you see the text pop up, then it's received the text. And then it has to wait for a second, and then it begins. I have a little song to play along with this, but I don't know if you can hear it. Here, let's get to the good part. It used to be so good. So can't you hear me, darling? Can't you hear me? SOS. Thank you, everybody.